guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is your favorite girl, Fola-Bolumole, doing this. Anyway, okay, so we are on episode 2 of this, and I kind of like tagged this life in a pod because it's a mix of the real issues of life. I've told you the lovey-dovey part, kind of, how everything seemed like a good rosy start. I wrote jam a couple of times, actually twice a couple of times, that's 4 times. I had my fair share of not getting admission into school when all my closest friends got to school, and that got to me a lot. Somehow, that's actually what made me end up doing A-level, because jam just kept on giving me scores that didn't meet the cutoff mark for the course I wanted to study. I got into school expecting to come out like the most brilliant student, because in my head I was very, very brilliant. But jam didn't prove it, and school results too didn't prove it. But one of the sad parts, but eventually accumulated to something very good, so maybe it is a bittersweet kind of thing, was the fact that I had an extra semester in school. But that was actually what eventually impacted chalk passing. But along the line, I was involved in quite a number of things. I was doing church-like stuff in school. I remember Radicals for Jesus episodes and a couple of all the rest. Maybe they were distractions. And I also tried my hands on businesses. And I must tell you, all the businesses I mentioned that I did in the first episode, all of them failed. My rental company failed. Private lesson business also eventually failed. Clothes and lingerie selling business also failed. And a couple of others I also tried when I got out of school. I started a company during my extra semester called Rubik Technologies. It was supposed to be an IT firm where we develop apps and everything. That one also failed. But I didn't eventually realize that maybe it was eventually helping and pushing me to where I was supposed to be or what I was supposed to focus on. I remember that one of the things that kept me going, particularly for the Chalk Boy brand, was an opportunity that I saw that was missing in Nigeria. Now, I'd always known Nigeria from social studies in primary school as a cocoa producing country. In fact, if it's not called cash crops, what is it called? It's one of the biggest sources of, it used to be one of the biggest sources of income for the country. And I always used to feel like, why do we now always have to buy chocolates from abroad? If I know that cocoa produces chocolate or chocolate comes from cocoa, why do we have to buy chocolates? And that quest, I remember at the beginning, is what eventually I juxtaposed with the concept of what we call the petroleum industry, where we, at the end of the day, have crude oil, export it and import refined products. And I'm like, okay, this is similar to what we have with crude oil. Can I make an impact and change something? Maybe the word impact was not the big thing in my mind then, but maybe it was something in my mind. But I just felt that, look, can I find a way to position the country in such a way that, maybe not the country, at least contribute my own part to turn things around, especially in the cocoa industry. And to a large extent, that is what has gotten me going, because it's a long vision to eventually transform Nigeria as a cocoa producing country to a full cocoa product, and of course exporting the cocoa and exporting all the derivatives in it. So it's like a long journey for me, and that is what eventually kept me on this path, because I'm not yet there. We produce chocolates now and chocolate derivatives, but the goal is to be able to produce it in the largest quantity possible that the whole world is eventually importing, and we are exporting our chocolate and cocoa products from here. And that's really the vision. That is what we are trying to do. That's what we are trying to do at Chalk Boy brand, where every single thing is wrapped up in that cocoa bean, in that pod. If you don't know cocoa pod, wrapped up in that cocoa pod, where you can actually, every single part of the cocoa pod can be used to make what I would call gold money. Everything wrapped up in it is the goal of what we are trying to achieve. Transform it into something that Nigeria can export and can bring us, because I did a little bit of research back then and I discovered that the industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. In fact, I can't remember the figures precisely now, but that is the chocolate industry as its own. So if we can have, even if it is 40% share, okay, maybe if that's being too ambitious for Nigeria, but if we can have at least 20% share of that chocolate industry in this country, I believe that we can totally transform a lot of things. Many of our youths, many of the young ones will have job in that business, and that is what we have naturally, especially here in the Southwest, where we can grow cocoa almost anywhere in the Southwest. Of course, there are peculiarities of the soil and whatever and whatnot. But at the back there in Igbo-Oloyin, cocoa grows. In Akure, in Ondo State, cocoa grows. Even in Benin, cocoa grows. And if I do a bit more research, maybe I'll even find in Abuja. So we can actually transform this whole thing, this whole pod, into something very big. And that was what eventually kept me going, despite the number of things I tried my hands on. Rubik Tech was, I remember Rubik Tech before Rubik Tech crashed. Rubik Tech was designed to eventually produce an app that was supposed to rival BlackBerry before WhatsApp became popular. It never got to see the light of the day. My rental company closed as I left school, eventually dashed out the chairs and the projector. It's that goal and what we are trying to achieve that has brought us this far. I think I want to wrap it up at this point. I hope I've reached my 10 minutes now. What do you guys think?